Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a deep plunge into a really chilling mystery, one that still haunts Easton City, Illinois.
Yeah, we're focusing on a specific place there, Raven Street.
Right, Raven Street. If you know Easton City, you probably know the name. It's the city's, well, notorious red light district.
Absolutely. Neon lights, nightclubs, late night dealings, that's the image.
But there's a darker side too, isn't there? It's known as a place where people disappear. Sometimes for good.
Exactly. And that brings us to our focus for this deep dive. The disappearance of Amber Cross.
Amber Cross.
She was a 23-year-old exotic dancer. Vanished back in October 2017. And our source material, which is a true crime podcast called Shadows of Desire, the disappearance on Raven Street, it makes a powerful case that this wasn't, just another missing persons file.
What does it suggest?
It calls it, and this is a direct quote, a cover-up wrapped in fear and built on silence.
Wow. Wrapped in fear and built on silence. That paints a picture. It suggests something systemic, not just random violence.
Precisely. It tells you right away that Amber's story isn't just tragic. It's potentially about, well, deliberate suppression of the truth.
Okay, so the insights from Shadows of Desire seem really key here. Our mission today is to unpack these excerpts, pull out the crucial facts, the surprising details, and really try to understand the layers of this mystery.
It's a complex one.
Definitely. So keeping that kind of chilling backdrop of Raven Street in mind, let's talk about Amber herself. Who was she? What drew her to this world?
Well, she actually grew up about 20 miles away in a quieter town, Northfield.
Okay.
Moved to Raven Street when she was just 20. The sources describe her as bright, beautiful, little wild.
It sounded like she had a certain energy.
She did, and she started dancing at Club Mirage, which was like one of the main spots in the district. Really busy.
And by 2017, she was doing well there.
Very popular, yeah. She had regulars, and get this, her client list apparently included local businessmen, sure, but also cops.
Yeah.
Even a city councilman.
Okay, wait, cops and a councilman, that's significant.
It's crucial. It's not just background color. It puts her right at the intersection of, the street life and the city's powerful figures.
So her popularity wasn't just about being a dancer. It was about who she knew, or who knew her.
Exactly. Proximity to power. And maybe proximity to secrets?
Which brings us to her secrets, right? She kept a journal.
A detailed one. And in it, she wrote about, quote, strange conversations, threats. And there was a name that kept coming up, which was?
Rico
Yep.
Alvarez, described as a local fixer.
A fixer. What does that mean exactly? No criminal record, you said.
Right, officially clean.
Yeah.
Which is interesting in itself. But the sources say if something shady was going down in Easton City, Rico's name was usually whispered nearby. Always kind of lurking.
And Amber wrote about him specifically warning her.
Yes. This is maybe the most chilling part from the journal. Rico warned her about a man she'd seen in the VIP room at the club.
Okay.
A man Amber wrote didn't belong there. And then she added this detail. He had a badge and blood on his sleeve. Whoa. A badge and blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying. That links law enforcement, violence, and this hidden VIP room.
It completely changes the nature of the threat, doesn't it? It's not just personal anymore. It suggests she stumbled onto something involving corruption, someone with official cover.
So let's get to the night she vanished. What happened?
October 13th, 2017. Friday the 13th, actually. She finished her shift at Club Mirage around 2:15 in the morning.
Okay.
Security footage caught her walking out the back alley behind the club, but she never got home.
And they found her purse.
Yeah, in a dumpster about 3 blocks away. But here's the thing. Her phone was gone, but all her cash was still inside the purse.
Cash still there? That doesn't sound like a typical robbery then.
Exactly. Robbers usually take the cash, taking the phone but leaving the money. That points to something else. Silencing her, maybe? Getting rid of evidence.
And how did the police react initially?
Well, according to the sources, pretty dismissively. The initial word was she probably just ran off. Or maybe it was, drugs.
But her mother didn't buy that.
Not for a second. Dana Cross, her mom, she was adamant. She told reporters Amber had been really scared for weeks leading up to it.
Scared. Did she say why?
She did. And this is critical. Dana said Amber had recorded something on her phone the night before she disappeared.
A recording. What was on it?
It's short, only 42 seconds. And it's Amber whispering. You can barely hear her, but she says, "He knows I saw him. I shouldn't have said anything. If anything happens to me." It's not random.
It's not random. Chilling. That's basically her saying she knew she was in danger because of something specific she witnessed.
It's confirmation, isn't it? She realized she'd crossed a line, seen something involving someone powerful enough to make him disappear. It shifts the whole thing firmly into suspected cover-up territory.
And what did she see? Does the source give any more clues about that? The man with the badge, maybe?
It implies that's the connection, but the specifics of what exactly she saw him doing remain murky at this point in the narrative. But what happens next with that recording is just as disturbing.
What's that?
Dina, her mother, gave the phone with that recording to the police. Standard procedure, you'd think.
Right. For evidence.
Except the phone then, quote, mysteriously disappeared from the evidence lockup.
Disappear. Just gone.
Gone. The source strongly implies this wasn't some clerical error. It points to deliberate obstruction. Someone inside didn't want that recording heard.
Unbelievable. And did anything else happen to Dana?
Yes. When she kept pushing, demanding answers about the phone, about the investigation, she received an anonymous letter, typed.
What did it say?
Just 4 words, basically. Leave it alone. Raven Street eats its own.
Raven Street eats its own. That's a direct threat. A warning tied right back to that culture of silence you mentioned.
It's incredibly cold.
Yeah.
And then about 2 months later, the discovery was made.
They found Amber.
Yes. Her body was found in a swampy area behind an old abandoned textile mill.
Oh no. How? What did they find?
It was grim. She was wrapped in a rug, and the rug was traced back to Club Mirage.
From the club itself. That's a direct link. What did the autopsy show?
Cause of death was blunt force trauma. But there was another detail, a really disturbing one.
What was it?
Her body had been frozen, preserved.
Frozen. Why would someone do that?
Well, think about it. Freezing a body delays decomposition significantly. It buys time. It suggests someone wanted to postpone the discovery, maybe to muddy the timeline, or just to get away.
And it suggests planning, right? Not a crime of passion. You need resources, a place.
Exactly. It implies premeditation, access to potentially like a walk-in freezer, like the kind a club might have for storage, and crucially, time without interruption. This wasn't some random attacker. This points to someone organized, someone with control.
Someone trying to stage things.
It certainly looks that way. Someone trying to control the narrative, even in death.
Yet, despite all this, the rug from the club, the blunt force trauma, the body being frozen, what did the police conclude?
Officially, death undetermined.
Undetermined after all that.
Undetermined. No suspects named, no arrests made.
It feels like the investigation just stopped, or was stopped.
The source definitely leans into that interpretation, especially when you look at what happened right after.
Like what?
Gary Luman, the owner of Club Mirage, he skipped town about a week after the body was found, just disappeared.
Convenient. And what about Rico? The fixer Amber wrote about. The one who warned her.
Rico Alvarez. Never questioned by police.
Mm.
Not officially, anyway.
Never questioned. That seems unbelievable. He's mentioned in her journal warning her about a man with a badge, and he's never brought in.
That's what the source states. The lack of follow-up on these 2 key figures, the club owner, the fixer, Amber, feared, it really speaks volumes, doesn't it? It's just maybe some people were considered untouchable.
It screams cover-up, or at least willful blindness. So, did we ever get closer to why she was targeted, what she actually saw?
We did, eventually. Years later, actually. In 2020, a former bouncer from Club Mirage came forward.
Okay, what did he say?
He filled in a crucial gap. He stated that Amber had witnessed a powerful man assaulting a young woman in the VIP room.
Assaulting someone. Was the man identified? The one with the badge, maybe?
The source connects it back to that implication, yes, this powerful man. And Amber didn't just see it. According to the bouncer, she threatened to go to the press with what she saw.
She threatened to expose him.
Exactly. And just days after that threat, she vanished.
So that's the motive. She wasn't just a witness, she was about to become a whistleblower. She was silenced.
That's the unavoidable conclusion presented by the sources. Amber Cross saw something she wasn't supposed to see, involving someone powerful, and she was killed to ensure her silence.
So wrapping this up, the core mystery here, pulled from these sources, it's about this young woman, Amber, caught in this really dangerous world on Raven Street.
Yeah, a world of secrets, power plays, and this overwhelming silence enforced by fear. It comes back to that phrase from the Shadows of Desire podcast.
Because on Raven Street, truth is dangerous.
And guilt doesn't scream, it whispers. It's a really potent summary of how deep that fear and silence ran.
It really is. And it leaves us, and you listening, with a pretty heavy final thought to consider, doesn't it? How does that kind of power dynamic work in a community where certain individuals, maybe because of a badge, maybe because of connections, are seen as basically above the law?
Yeah, how does that allow this sort of culture of fear and silence to take root so deeply?
And how does it keep the truth buried, hidden away in the shadows long after the whispers have faded? It's a question that unfortunately resonates far beyond just Raven Street.